What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm MoedotJ and we are locked in. This is part two of the Jerry Springer on Netflix fight camera action. And the last thing we seen was Jerry Springer is the #1 show in the world. We passed up Oprah. So, hey, ain't no stopping us now. But we did see the last guest that came on there. Reality is about to set in, and we're going to see what the lingering effects are from going on the Jerry Springer show and what rolls over into the real world. But before we do jump into this and break down episode 2, if you like Jerry Springer content, if you used to watch it back in the day, you used to chant out Jerry, Jerry, Jerry. Well, hit your subscribe button and turn your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. And you already know what we're trying to do. We just trying to make it. So make sure you hit that like button. Let's jump into it. This is Fights Camera Action Part 2 on Netflix. We start the episode off with a gentleman talking about his mother by the name of Nan, who we seen at the end of episode 1, and we see her walking out to the stage on her episode. Now, his father passed when he was a toddler, and she raised him and his brother, but she never really been on any dates. Now, he does say she did eventually go on a date, maybe once or twice, and the gentleman she went on a date with, she ended up marrying. Now, he immigrated from Germany over to the United States, and they got together. But they ended up on the Jerry Springer show. So you know there's only one thing that can happen when you go on Jerry with your wife. He knows his mother better than anyone. And he's saying she's sitting here like a deer in headlights because she didn't like taking pictures. So she really thinks she's about to get on this show and get her ex-husband back, who moved on with this lady to the left. Now, he said his mother didn't know what the title of this show was called, and she wasn't expecting to get on here and get jumped, but we know how the producers are. They egg you up, they hype you up to be confrontational. What the critic is saying is what we all realize as adults. Once the lights go off, the cameras turn off, these people that were fighting, arguing, getting into it with each other, who really built up a true hatred, but took it to that next level because they were on here and hyped up by the producers, they got to go back to life. They might be next door neighbors. They might be roommates. So they're fighting on here. There's no one to stop them when they get back home off of this television set. So no one was ever thinking about that because Jerry Springer, they even said they're not here to help anybody. All they're doing is egging people on and sending you back to the real world. A good celebrity wouldn't be a good celebrity without a scandal. And at one point, I do remember this. So Jerry Springer got caught up in a scandal. There was a couple of porn stars that came on the show. He ended up having a threesome with them. Now remember, Jerry Springer is married. TV chat king romps with porn stars. Now, they had a group meeting. All the producers came in and Jerry apologized because he was trying to get ahead of the story. And no one believed that Jerry, their TV dad, because this is the only guy they were around, would do something like this. The only thing is the women had cameras. And this is back in the late 90s, early 2000s. So it had to be a big ass camcorder. But they had photos of Jerry with some porn stars. Jerry Springer and his wife, they ended up separating because of this scandal. But he also had a daughter who had special needs. But Jerry always put her on a pedestal no matter what. But obviously no one really ever seen her actually talk to her because he kept her away from all this nonsense at work like a good parent would. But Jerry was always there for his daughter and he was loving and caring. He just got a little curious to what those stars would do when they get into the room and it's just you and them with the doors closed. Right now, you don't want to do anything like that. Your ass will get arrested. But one thing about that scandal, Jerry Springer, we know what Jerry Springer show was about. This made him a bigger star. No one ever even cared about it. It's like, okay, Jerry Springer caught up with 2 porn stars. This is Jerry Springer. He's a celebrity. He's a rock star. So this just got him more interviews, more TV time, and hyped up the show more. Like, okay, even Jerry Springer is living that Springer lifestyle. So it wasn't nothing. We just continued on with life. Now it's a big deal, but back then no one cared. The show is doing so well, Richard gets a 3-year contract extension. He's executive producer. He's putting everything together. So as we mentioned, hey man, Jerry had a scandal, but controversy sells and all publicity is good publicity. That's just more eyeballs and more people talking about the Jerry Springer show. And if you thought that 3-year contract extension was good, Jerry Springer got a $30 million extension. I'm talking about the money is rolling in, and this is the 2000s, so that 30 million is roughly around like maybe 42, 43 billion dollars in today's money. We don't even know how many years that was. Maybe that was like a 10-year deal. That's the kind of deals they were giving out back then. 10 year, 30 million, you get 3 a year. But hey, man, one of the highest paid on TV. Now that they got these extensions and all this money is being thrown around, Richard went to all the producers. And now the pressure is on. We thought they were working hard when they first started off. Now they got to reach a quota. Each person probably had to get maybe 30, 40 shows a year. And if you didn't reach these numbers, you were fired. No ifs, ands, buts about it. The stories had to be real. It had to be exciting, and it had to be over the top, or you were getting fired. So I know I'm kind of lazy, so there's be times where I might not meet that quota. They would have probably fired me by, I say month 3, they probably would have fired me. If I had to do maybe 3 episodes a week, damn, I probably wouldn't make it. At this point, it's so stressful working at Jerry Springer and being a producer because you have to answer all these calls, filter through what's BS, try to actually get them to show up to the show. And if you didn't, you lost your job. So what do you think they did? They put in overtime. People weren't leaving the studios. They sleep in there. And now it's real because with these extensions and all these big contracts, oh, it's no time to be half-stepping. You're all the way committed. Of course, when you're on top of the game, you're going to have haters. And now you got everyone coming out, oh, Jerry Springer is fake. It's a fake. They aren't doing it for real. They're staging it. But Jerry Springer made the New York Post. What other talk show was? Oprah wasn't. Remember, controversy sells. All publicity is good publicity. And Jerry Springer, they didn't care if people thought it was fake because these are true, genuine stories that they're grabbing. Now, there was a group of people that came out to say that it was staged, but no one cares. It's great TV. Now, you know you can't ride that high horse for too long before you get bumped off. And Melinda starts talking about how high strung and how stressful the job was. She's collecting these calls. You got to get at your quota. She ends up getting a phone call, but it was no red flags for her that she noticed at first. But in hindsight, she realized that there was 3 contestants or guests that came from Boston. Now, that isn't the Springer Triangle from Cincinnati to Little Rock to Georgia. No, this is in Boston. Well, it turns out the 3 that she brought on the show didn't have a true story. And they were fake fighting. And Jerry was upset because he's looking and he could tell that they fake punched each other. Now, I haven't seen this actual episode, but let's just say this. Melinda didn't work there anymore after this fake show. Now, for Jerry, he was defending his show. Everyone's saying that, Jerry, this is fake, it's staged. But for him, he wanted real stories. But remember, Jerry Springer is just the face of Jerry Springer. He doesn't even know what's going on behind the scenes. He's not a producer. He's not calling these people and vetting them to see if these stories are real. All he's doing is standing out there with the cue card and egging them on. If they aren't hype enough, then he's trying to poke the bear. But Jerry Springer took a lot of pride in this, as anyone would if you're making $30 million off of something. You're going to work and put in your best effort. So he doesn't want people saying that it's fake. Just like I wouldn't want you guys to come on here and say that my recaps are boring. But if you did, make sure you hit that like button first, because I really don't care if you think they're boring. I'm entertained. At the beginning of the episode, we did get introduced to this gentleman, Jeffrey. Now, his mother went on the show, and initially she didn't like taking photos. So for her to go on Jerry Springer, he was caught off guard. Now, the guy she ended up marrying was named Ralph, and he immigrated from Germany. They got married. This is only like the second date that he knew her to go on, and they got married. They ended up getting a divorce, and that's how they ended up on the TV show. Now, he would never expect his mom to go on a show like that. And I'm pretty sure 99% of us right now listening to this, we wouldn't expect to see our mom on Jerry Springer. And if your parents are on Jerry Springer, hey man, salute to you. Now, when Nancy gets on the show, this isn't our typical show. Nancy comes on here because her and Ralph, they stopped messing with each other, and he's with Eleanor. And now Eleanor is saying, hey, he don't want you no more. You're a redhead from hell. You're the devil. And Nancy, she's sitting here and she's like, well, that's not true, because turns out she was sleeping with Ralph. Yeah, even the night before they came on the show, she was still messing with Ralph. And remember, he's a German immigrant, but he left her and she has this big house and she's lonely. So she wants her man back, but he's with Eleanor. So while she's on stage, Nancy is sitting there with Grace, like she wants Ralph back. They've been sleeping around, but he doesn't want her. He wants to be with Eleanor. So what is Jerry doing? His job. He's trying to egg it on. What are you going to do? She's in your face. She's trying to take your man. You want him back. But Nancy, she gets up, and believe it or not, she has some grace. And she's like, well, if he doesn't want me, she walks off the stage and goes back into the back. So Jerry and them are like, wait a minute. We're supposed to have some people scrapping on here. So of course, all fingers are looking at the producer, but she's like, well, I tried. He don't want me back. So she left. How the TV show works, what they do is they threaten you. They say, if you don't go out there and fight or hype it up to another level, then we're not going to send you on a return ticket. And most people don't have the money to get a return ticket home, because we know about the Springer Triangle and where they're from. So Nancy's like, well, okay, I'll figure it out on my own. So she leaves the studio. She's crying and makes it to the bus station, and someone ends up buying her a ticket back. The producers, they're in awe, like, well, we were supposed to get her to get out here and be fighting. But she ended up making her way back, and she went on about her life for a little while. Nancy ends up getting a lawyer because Ralph went back to his old ways and he was abusing Nancy. So they're going to court for this domestic dispute. Now, when they get here, the lawyer doesn't know anything about the Jerry Springer show. She didn't know that they went on there. She didn't know that it was a big blow up. She just thought that this guy, Ralph, the immigrant, was assaulting her again. So they separated. He got the house and she went on about her own life. So the lawyer, she's clueless of everything, but the son Jeffrey knows, and he heard about it. After the court case, Ralph goes to the bar and does what any German would do, starts drinking. In that Jerry Springer episode that they were on, it aired 2 weeks later, which happened to be on the court date. Well, he's watching this, and they say, rumor has it, he told one of the people inside of the bar that he was going to unalive Nancy. Now, she's living out of her car because she doesn't have anything after this, because she moved out. After that night at the bar and him telling somebody that he was going to unalive Nancy, the unthinkable happened. He actually went to the house with Eleanor and he threw Nancy down the stairs and he stomped her head. R.I.P. to Nancy. Jeffrey ends up getting a call and they're like, hey, you need to call the detective down in Florida. So now something from the TV show spilled over into real life. And of course, social media wasn't around, but the regular media picked it up. And this is another story around Jerry Springer. The only problem is the victim, Nancy, was forgot about. And all the stories were, did Jerry Springer cause this? Now, of course, the PR and the lawyers come in to Jerry Springer and NBC and say, hey, no one talk about this. So when they interviewed Jerry Springer about this unaliving and if he felt like he had something to do with it, he says, of course, I want them to find the murderer, but I don't believe that anything we did has something to do with this. Once people leave, we're not in control of their everyday lives. We don't have no control or no say over what they do, but we do want the killer to be found. But that's all Jerry could speak on at this point. Well, there was rumors going around that the police were about to subpoena the Springer show. So what Richard do? He called Toby in and said, I like that idea. Let's all go to Jamaica. So they take everyone down to Jamaica because if this court case went on and a subpoena dropped, well, we're out the country. We can't make it. You won't be able to subpoena us. So Jerry Springer does a show out here in Jamaica. Jerry Springer invades Jamaica and he in the hot tub with the ladies. And well, no one got subpoenaed for this. But some people say that the Springer show left to get away from this. But Richard says, no, we left to go do a show down in Jamaica. It really does look like they was on the run, so they wouldn't get in any trouble because they're making a lot of money. Now there are some stipulations to what they can and can't do on the Jerry Springer show. but they're still trying to find that edge. Now, Toby, he's stressed out, but he ends up getting a phone call. And the story that he has is a girl works for this hotline and her father keeps calling and she has to go over there and do whatever he's requesting. So it's some incest. So he's listening to the story, but he doesn't think it's going to work, let alone have her come and get the father to come to be on TV to actually talk about this show. But unfortunately for him, they both show up. Toby put the father and daughter in different hotels under different names so they wouldn't know that they were coming to the Jerry Springer show for each other. But it turns out when he went to go talk to the guy, the father wasn't there. So he went to the daughter's room and the dad was in there. And what he said he's seen in there, y'all can use y'all imagination or go and watch the episode. YouTube is not going to allow me to say that. But they were in there together. And at that moment, he went back to work, packed up everything he had, put it in the box, and he quit his job right there on the spot. And even Richard was like, man, take care of yourself. But he left and he came back in 2006, and then he left in 2008. He was completely done with the show after seeing that. Once we got to the mid 2000s, the Jerry Springer show, it got watered down. No nudity, really no fighting, no incest, no wild, nothing, none of that. They were sending people to the hospital. People were getting their hair torn out. So the show was watered down and the ratings, they started to decline. And even Jerry started to speak against the show and start saying that this is probably one of the worst things that he ever did. It's just, it ran its course. And eventually you come to the light, you snap out of that greed, that dollar sign in your eye, and you're like, man, this was wrong. And basically from the Jerry Springer show, spawned all of this reality television, Real World, Road Rules, Housewives, Trump Apprentice, Making the Band, anything you could think of, Flavor of Love, all of that spawned from the Jerry Springer show. He was the one to really bring this to primetime television. And now all the shows we watch, I'm guilty of it, we want to see some action. The Jerry Springer show was canceled in 2018. By then, Jerry Springer's estimated worth was $60 million. The show denied that they attempted to evade subpoenas in the murder case when they went out to Jamaica. I believe that they went out to Jamaica solely for that purpose. Jerry Springer passed away in 2023. I remember it too. Well, 2 years ago now. Damn. R.I.P. to Jerry Springer. Man, he left his impact on the world, and now we have this documentary. All right, there you go. Jerry Springer, part 1, part 2. What did you think overall about Jerry Springer, and how did it impact your life? I'm not saying that you would have went on the Jerry Springer show, but I'm saying as far as you looking at television, did it hype you up? Did you want to see more action on regular TV? Because during the daytime, you would just see regular soap operas. I used to watch my grandma watch them because I didn't know what was going on. It was just always dun 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 dun, some slow music. But Jerry Springer really did mold my preteen to teenage years because I used to watch it. I ain't gonna lie to you. But let me know what you think. I'm MoedotJ. If there's another show on Netflix that you want me to break down, let me know down below. We're trying to knock out different shows for the whole year, 365 days. Thanks for watching. If you like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button. If you like these breakdowns, hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.